Hi, in this last part of this series, I'm going to go through the losers and the grand finals of my run at the World Championships. In the previous ones, I went through my day one performance and the team that I used, the IV of the Pokemon, and in the second part, I went through my losers run on day two. I already played Marto before, and his team, again, very difficult, right? Whimsicott doesn't allow me to play Giratina, Lantern, and Polred easily together. He is quite weak to Skarmory of mine, but that also makes his Lantern very tempting to bring. Giratina's risky to bring, though, often into his team. Previously, I wasn't very sure about taking risks into his team. This time, I felt like I kind of had to. Let's not make the same mistakes that we did before. Let's see how game number one goes here versus Marto. So the way the first game starts is where I take this risk, right? I go ABA to Gligar and I lead into it. So if I have a really good Poliwrath and against good Gligar, very good Shadow Gligar, I would be able to win the one shields here, but I'm too afraid to take that risk. So I'm gonna go to play the zero shields, which I also win as the Poliwrath. And then just get a full farm down on Skarmory, knowing that there's likely Lantern in the back. Maybe if there's also Whimsicott, I could clean up with the Clodsire. These three Pokemon that Marto brings together are Pokemon you can basically always bring together. There's like no core breaker to all of this. Like Abomasnow is probably the closest I can think of, but even into that, Shadow Gligar just wins the one shield if they don't have if they have Ice Wind still with a ball. Gonna go for the full farm down here, and then hopefully my Clodsire can win. Now, if you've seen this already, you will know that I'll lose this battle, but there were win conditions here. So Marto makes a slight mistake here. I could have actually thrown the Earthquake here, and if he put a shield, that actually may have been a win condition for me, because if he didn't then shields, it would allow me later to keep the shield for Clodsire and swap out with an Earthquake and take this out with my Skarmory at some point. Now he still has that shield, it's not really an option. I have to go for Earthquake, Double Stone Edge to knock out this Lickitung here. He's obviously not going to shield anything, because his win condition is that Lantern. And I don't really want to shield this, but if I don't shield this, he might be able to Water Gun me down. I also actually miscount here somewhat. I know he was at this Body Slam, it's fine. I need to overfarm anyway, because my plan is to get a lot of energy. And here, for some reason, I thought that's it. I couldn't farm more, but I guess I miscounted severely. I could have done like 2 or 3 more Mudshot there and then throw my attack. Also, if I went for Brave Bird, he would get less farm here. So I don't know if that would have been enough. Definitely that first Earthquake that I could have thrown into his Lantern, that could have won me this battle. At this point, I'm going to try to bait, but you'll see that I'll be slightly short. His Lantern has too much energy. He's about 1 Mudshot off, as opposed to 2 Water Guns, so I won't outpace him, unfortunately. I need like 3 more Mudshot at that point, so I wasn't going to win that, but there were win conditions there. I guess I was just afraid of him catching. At this point, I lost 3 battles in a row against Marto, so it's going to be difficult. But now I finally catch a lead. The best lead I could ask for, because I have Giratina in the back. And he's staying into this matchup, knowing that his swapping his Skarmory in is kind of risky as well. It's unlikely I will have Polred lead with Lantern in the back. But the way I was always going to think, if I can get energy elsewhere, Giratina or Poliwrath, then I could handle Whimsicott lead if it would be there. He goes for the Power Whip, doesn't get to another charge stack now. Going into the Whimsicott. Now, this matchup is so deceiving, because you'd think that Whimsicott counters Poliwrath in both typings, right? In Fairy and Grass, but it's not as good as you'd like it to be. Counts add up, Icy Wind add up. He makes a small, I wouldn't say a misplay, but this could have been a little bit cleaner. Look, I live at 1 HP. Allows me to get to the Ice Wind. If he threw a charge stack purely, which Whimsicott wins, then I would not have gone to this attack. I don't think he would have won that regardless, because I have 2 Pokemon against his 1. At this point, and Whimsicott wouldn't have had any play at all into my Skarmory, so it was always going to be my Skarmory and Giratina versus 1 Skarmory, and Giratina's not like weak into Skarmory or anything. It doesn't do super great in the 0 and the 1 shield, but it's like a very manageable matchup otherwise. Gonna let this go. My win condition at this point, just Giratina. He needs the Brave Birds to take me out at some point. I'm just gonna go straight Sky Attack here, just to pull shields from him. It doesn't really matter, honestly. It's gonna be a fast attack down at some point. If he throws Brave Bird, I can claw him down. I think even if he goes Sky Attack, I get to another charge stack or gets more Steel Wing damage in. At this point, I think his only win condition maybe is the Clodsire. Even Wigglytuff would farm him down, so it was never gonna happen. Giratina comes in, claws him down. And finally, after 3 consecutive losses, I get a game into Marto, and the line that I used was ABA into Whimsicott. Now, game number 3, I was going to do something I discussed with Toe before, but then I had Claude instead of Skarmy, which I honestly forgot at this point in a strategy. I lead Lantern into Lickitung, which is okay, because as long as my Giratina doesn't get on it. I throw the Surf before his Power Whip, because I just need all the chip damage I can get before he eventually landed into me. But look at his backline. You'd think Giratina absolutely wrecks me, but he just makes a very easy play here. Goes into Annihilate, I bring in Giratina, and I know at this point it's Lantern back, I lost. I know at this point I lost. I'm gonna go for Ominous Wind. If this knocks out, maybe. He must have a very attack weight Annihilate for this to knock out. I don't think it does, though. It won't. And I saw a lot of comments in the chat, why won't he shield this? If I shield this, Lickitung farms me down entirely without me dealing back any damage, and I won't be able to knock out his Lantern, which I know is gonna be the back. Right, because I only have half of my own Lantern. There was no point in winning switch advantage here at all, unless he brings like his own Lantern into this matchup. I lost it at the point I brought Giratina in. I think I lost it honestly at the point I locked in that team. My other play potentially was double shielding Giratina into Annihilate and just get a whole farm down, stall the clock, swap out. Maybe. But even then, I don't think it was ever winnable, this matchup. I played another risky line, and Marto punished me extremely hard with a line to bait out Giratina, and that worked. I tell him, there's an Earthquake, and he chuckles. That would be my only win condition. I'm throwing the Brave Bird, just so it finishes quickly, right? He throws Surf, no set, it's over. And that's well played by Marto. Water guns me down. At this point, man, he's one win away of getting to the Grand Finals. And this battle starts awful. If you saw this, like, this is where I thought it was going to be over. He hard counts me, of course, but there's a win condition here. And maybe you've seen this in the previous video where I played against Rocha Babyface. I just double shielded, man. I need switch advantage. Like, it was going to be my only play. The issue I always had with Skarmy, it's going to come back, it's going to bite me back at some point again, is that, like, when shields are down, it just beats everything on my team, except the Lantern. So if I play for Switch, I always need Lantern on my team, basically, if I expect Skarmy somewhere. I land Ice Wind and just counter all the way down. Poliwrath can do that, and I know it can. This time, however, I think in a previous similar line, I had Giratina instead of Lantern, and in that case, I can't really use shields, because then Skarmy just Brave Birds my Giratina, right? I can't have Skarmy on my Wigglytuff, but also on Giratina wouldn't be great. But this time I have Lantern, which is going to entirely wall. I think he's just sick of my Poliwrath here, so throws immediately. And perhaps just needs the HP for my Wigglytuff as well. Going into Lantern, in comes Lickitung. I actually expected his Lantern here, but allowed Lickitung. I think he mistimed here. I didn't even see or notice it, but it must be, because I will be able to get to the Ice Wind before his second Body Slam, and that shouldn't be, especially on energy disadvantage. So that's what I ask him here. Marto told me very specifically before the battle that he prefers not to talk during the battle because he loses focus. So kind of regret asking him, and then I just shut up for the rest of the battle and asked him afterwards, like, what happened there. And now I only see afterwards that I couldn't do that. So, or that he mistimed it. I think he would barely win the zeros by getting to 2 Body Slam here, but like Lickitung is just incapable of doing anything there anymore. In comes Lantern into Skarmy. Skarmy can't do anything. So double shield, wind switch, that's kept me into this. So here I ask him again, and he said it didn't happen. Yeah, I just didn't see that that he mistimed. It didn't matter. It didn't matter. Like, let's be real, because Wigglytuff just got the Lickitung solo. In the final game, I should have done something I was gonna do for the grand finals, but I was just entirely thrown off, which is just do the same thing, lead the same Pokemon. I'm gonna bring Poliwrath again, even though it's so predictable. For some reason, players just tend to go weak to that Pokemon again, like calling my bluff or something. So I lead Poliwrath into his Skarmy. He's actually going ABA into Lantern, which is a wild ABA as well. But I guess he didn't expect my Lantern, so I guess that works. It's easy. We double shield Poliwrath here. I have Giratina in the back. I won't switch, especially considering he's staying in. The odds that there is a Lickitung in the back is pretty high. So I cannot have my Giratina on that. It could also be his Water Gun Lantern, and in that case, I do want my Giratina on that. It has to be one Poliwrath answer at least. I am not expecting Gligar. I am expecting Annihilate or Whimsicott at this point. Gligar was a Pokemon I haven't seen in a while, and I don't think it's very pleasant to bring into a team that has Skarmy, and Skarmy is so good into you. In comes Annihilate. This feels okay. It feels kind of okay. And at this point, I'm not sure what to think. I am so sure that it has to be Lickitung in the back. Because if he has Lantern in the back, he probably would have tried to bait out my Guillotine like he did before. He goes for a Night Slash. Again, so you don't see me stressed out here because I think I'm 100% sure it's Lickitung in the back. I bring in Guillotine out to soak this damage, and then it's got to be Skarmy to do it. But Skarmy does lose the 0-1 shield, so I'm going to take this damage here. And in the back is Gligar, and you see me there looking like, what? That's over for you, because I wall this, right? It's just not what I expected. I 100 expect Lickitung here, considering he stayed in with the lead. If he had Lantern in the back, then he would have probably tried to bait out my Giratina with Annihilate or Lantern. He didn't, and he didn't do that, right? So Lickitung was the only thing that made sense to me there. I couldn't care less about that Night Slash, because Giratina was going to be used into Lickitung anyway. This is a charge stack purity, and that means it's over. Marto's only play was to stall the clock, try to catch something, maybe. But even then, like, Narace wouldn't knock out here. He needs a dig and some wing attack. Count's gonna knock him out. And I move on to the grand finals. This was a pretty emotional moment where, like, I was like a little bit in disbelief that I get this far. Right, after losing to him the first time, I had a pretty sick losers run, and you know, remembering from Utrecht, it's wild, right? Because like I made a sick losers run there, 17-0, and it just this kind of feeling came up again. Anyway, let's go to the grand finals. So the grand finals against Yakai. Let me tell you that both of us likely didn't have a lot of practice into this. We spent like 12 hours at the venue the day before. We had to do another 1 hour and a half of production videos and whatever after playing the losers finals yesterday, which ended at like 7 or like 8 p.m. almost. So we left at like 9:30, right? Getting at the hotel like 10 or 11. And I think Yakai was leaving a little bit sick, so you know, it was a little bit rough. I did some practice in the morning with the tactical, Paula, Scafo. I went 8-1, the only battle, or 7-1, I think. The only battle I lost is when I accidentally swapped my Wigglytuff into Scary from Tho, which is so busy RPSing. And of course, Yakai is none of them, right? Yakai has his own plan here. So the way I should approach this is honestly not bring Giratina. Giratina is good into Charge Bug, Quagsire, and Annihilate. Charge Bug is a Pokemon he probably always brings, because the core that he fears is Wigglytuff Poliwrath, and that core is the core I should always bring. It's very simple, you're gonna see this later. If I win the lead, it's dead over. He can't do anything with the alignment I have. But what I totally missed is how afraid he is of my Wigglytuff. He's always bringing the Skarmory, and the team composition that I bring here is just not good. And you know why? It's what I told you before. Skarmory with shields down beats everything except Lantern. So, Yakai, I don't know if this was a strategy, but I would think it is. I think he was also lagging a little bit, by the way, which is great for Grand Finals. Gonna go for the Shadow Ball here. I think he tried to throw before that, that's why he made that sort of chuckle. Shields that, and he goes for the Stone Edge. Now, this is very smart by him, right? To win my Poliwrath in the back, and he might know it's there, he needs to get shields down. So, I'm not gonna use any shields, because I know this, right? Skarmy beats me if I do that. So I'm going to go for an entire farm down here and hopefully do something into the charge back. Skarmy in the back. He goes for an insane bait here. And I'm not going to lie. I was like, okay, there's no way he baits here. He gets on an Aquito, and he actually does it. That's a wild bait. Gets to the Stone Edge there, which is a chunk. I just want to preserve HP, right? If it's Charger Bug, I need to live some Volt Switches. So there is the Charger Bug. Maybe I should have played the one shoot into that Quagsire, simply because then I could knock out this Charge Bug and stay into the Wigglytuff. But there is the Skarmory. I swapped on Wigglytuff there, and that's just game over. So this was, he felt like this was his most safe line into Wigglytuff, and I agree, right? Quagsire plus Charge Bug plus Skarmory, like none of those Pokemon are weak to Wigglytuff, but two of those are extremely weak to Poliwrath. You're gonna see it later, but if I lead Poliwrath into this kind of game, there's nothing, absolutely nothing he could do with that. But Yakai made incredible calls throughout this whole tournament, so no wonder he wins that first game. Game number 2. You can tell by my face that I'm not happy with this lead. And this is where I'm like, wait, I should just use Poliwrath lead there. Like, I'm just gonna bluff him. And I wish I did. I'm gonna swap in my Lantern here. Poliwrath is actually my safe switch, but I reckon there's Charge Bug in the back, and maybe there's play here. So I'm gonna go for Thunderbolt. And if I can flip something here, but again, I can't use shields. That's my problem every time with the Skarmory. Let's see. He's gonna go for the Body Slam here, and I'm like, well, my only winning condition is invading. Let's just do that. He actually does bait, and that's great for me, because now I can do something here. I could actually live this and maybe try to flip it, but or just get shield advantage. But if it's charger bug, and you see him nodding, right? Because he knows. I think he knows that Skarmory with that shield advantage or the energy advantage is very hard to beat for me. Nerf gonna barely knock out this Lickitung before it gets to an attack, which is huge for me. Now the charger bug cannot get a clean farm down, and he's gonna make a pretty smart play here. He just swaps into Skarmory here, and that just throws me off entirely. I get a shield quite easily, but the fact that he gets energy advantage here does mean he was always going to get that, right? Because even if I bring my Wigglytuff into his Charger Bug and then he swaps in Skarmory, he has energy advantage anyway. The problem is, I get outpaced here. I just get outpaced, and I make a misplay. This is a big misplay because I know there's no. My feeling at this here was that it was not going to be a Brave Bird, and Sky Attack does about 60%. I live that easily. This is one of the plays that I really regret in the grand finals. Like a lot of things are team composition based, but you know, once you bring in your team, it's really about how you play it, and that is one play I regret a lot in this battle. Now this is going to be a nasty one because look at this. I throw the Surf. And his clock, look, his switch didn't go through yet. I don't know if that's lag or that's supposed to be that, like, well, the switch would take a turn, but it didn't here, so I'm launching the Surf. And as I do that, his timer comes up and he gets away with it. He gets away with the catch, and that seals the game. Because if he didn't get the catch and knock out the Skarmory, I won't feint to 2 discharge on the Wigglytuff, and I think I could charm down. Maybe not. I don't throw any charge stacks, fast stacks here. Look at him lagging, dude. I don't have any fast stacks there, hoping I could get enough farm on Wigglytuff and get to an Ice Wind, but he has energy on Skarmory. Very well played. I think he got away with that swap just barely, and also my shield on the Poliwrath was just a misplay. It was a misplay, and deserve win. Now, this is what it looks like when I get a lead. My alignment Pokemon are so strong against him. He plays the same team as game 1. Swaps in Skarmory. This is over. It's over at this point. Because what I do, double shoot Poliwrath, Quagsire can't run through it. He has Charge Bug in the back. I line my Clodsire on that. He no-shields that. And that actually allows me to farm him down before he can get to 2 attacks. Here goes for the Brave Bird as well. Interesting play. I think maybe the better play was to go for try to go for 2 Sky Tech, but maybe he thought he wouldn't get there. I don't know. Maybe he didn't get there, because I think that was 2 counter range despite the debuff. Brings in Charge Bugs. Clock is not up. I'm gonna go in Clodsire to like wall him immediately and hopefully pull a shield off him here. He doesn't throw a charge to stall the clock, which is interesting. And let's just go. At this point, I know it's game over. It's game over at this point. Because that Quagsire is not gonna do anything. It's not gonna do anything into my Poliwrath. Poliwrath has about 70% HP left. Clodsire was not a Pokemon I think I should have brought a lot, honestly. But into anything but Quagsire, it actually does do quite well. Even Skarmory 0 shields. In the last battle, you'll see the use of Clodsire there as well. How that went. Guess charge superiority, it's fine with me. I'm just gonna like bring in Poliwrath and debuff this thing entirely. Here we go. Icy Winds. It doesn't even matter if he shields or not. Like, Wigglytuff just cleans out anyway. Alright, let's see. I think he has an attack on that Charge Bug, but I have a shield as well. If he wants to preserve this, he has to shield this Quagsire, which he does. And now I think I predicted him to snipe me, but I'm like, well, what are you gonna do? That was double debuffed, so you have to swap out anyway, and I get the result I want regardless. So let all of this go, clean up with Poliwrath. This is what a game looks like if I want leads. My composition was so strong into him, but yeah, he wins a lot of leads, so that made it difficult for me. And I actually get a point back here, so that's nice. Now the final battle, this is gonna be a painful one, and this is I regret bringing Giratina in the grand finals. Okay. I wish I played more Pokemon like Lantern, Wigglytuff, Poliwrath. Those were basically the only 3 I need. He sees his lead. I think at this point he probably knows I won. So he's pretty smart here. He doesn't bring in the Skarmory. And the reason why is because if it's a bait out for Wigglytuff, then Wigglytuff cleans up his ABA line to Wigglytuff, right? If I lead Wigglytuff here, then again it would be probably over. But he leads very strong into my Giratina. Giratina not having a great time in his grand finals so far. I can take the Sky Attack. Clodsire doesn't win the 0 shield. He doesn't try to catch here and pulls a shield. Again, pulling those shields is just so obnoxious, and it makes Skarmory very good. So his strategy just was very good in general. Right. Gonna try to win the lead here. I'm hoping that it's gonna be Charger Bug in the back. You're gonna see soon at my face that I know it's gonna be Lickitung in the back. I just know. So he brings in Skarmory. I really need to get the Stone Edge. That will make it more bearable for my Giratina. But man, at this point, I just realize my only win condition is Charger Bug. I know it's Leaky Tongue. That's why he stays in with Altaria, right? Because he has 2 answers for Giratina. I know it is, but I'm gonna bring in Skarmory anyway. It's gonna be a very nasty close ending. But at this point, I was like, well, he Bravers my Giratina. Giratina's almost gone, and then Leaky Tongue for Skarmory the one shields is just extremely close. So I'd never ever win that anyway. I needed to be Charge Bug in the back. If you look at my like, I don't always look like this, man. This is me when I'm desperate. Goes for the Brave Bird. Maybe I could have shielded that to have some more play. Maybe. But I don't think so. I don't think so. We're not going to watch my Giratina get entirely licked down, by the way. You know, there's something poetic about it. That Giratina avoided Lickitung entirely in Utrecht. That it avoided Lickitung all the way to the grand finals, to the very last battle, and in the last battle is where it ends. Yeah, that's the second place right there. So what I wish I did, bring Wiggly, Poly, Lantern with Wiggly or Polydeed anytime. I wish I did that. I really wish. One thing that just went through me was that I love Giratina, and Giratina knocked out a lot of Pokemon for me. I want to get Giratina in a research if I would win Worlds. And Giratina, honestly, at first glance, was looking bad into his team, but his strategy was just something I didn't take into account. I don't know why that didn't come up with me. That Skarmory was just very tough to deal with, and he had a good strategy, so deserved. Oyukai. I think I had a good team composition, but he had a better strategy that I just somehow didn't notice. I honestly should have noticed after game 1 that he didn't bring a single Pokemon weak to Wigglytuff. That he would always bring Skarmory. So yeah. Allah, that is how it is. Of course, that day was a little bit bittersweet for me because I was so thinking I would win all of it. But overall, looking at the tournaments, man, second place is just crazy, right? So this wicked heavy trophy, I brought a showcase for it, like a case for it, so let's have it on a nice display. I'm very happy with that. So yeah, second place of Worlds. I hope you liked all of it. See you in the next video.